Good evening to Class 3, Class 4 and Class 5. Welcome to Stories from the Shed, Roald Dahl, Danny, the Champion of the World, Chapter 11. Let's say hello to everybody before we begin. Evening, William. Evening, Danny. Evening, Doc Spencer. Good evening, Rebel. Rebel. At last. Okay. Let's go across to Pesko. Pesko is still missing. We've got a question. Where is Pesko? We don't know. We're worried about our feathered friend. We're not sure what's happened to him. We haven't seen him since yesterday when he was hanging around on the fence with Victor Hazel. We don't know where he's gone. Hopefully we'll find him later. Now, Mr. Shoutout is pointing over to this to the screen of it. We've got some more super artwork. Here's a Baby Austin by Jessica in Year 4. This is by Alan in Year 4 with his Baby Austin car. Thank you, Alan. We've got Harrison in Year 4, and he's built Danny's dad and Danny in their own car there. Okay, thank you, Harrison. Then we've got, I like this, is Callum's in my class in Year 5. He's built a garage, and he's built the garage, and it looks like a pretty modern car. That looks like a Range Rover Sport, that looks a really snazzy car, that, Callum. Fantastic stuff. So thank you very much to all those people that have done some artwork for me. Now, before we begin, I would like to give a shout out. I promised to shout out to Amna in Mrs. Brotherton's class. So hello, Amna. A shout out to Daisy as well. I'd also like to mention Zara in Year 4 because she worked it out. She worked out how old the book was. My book that was published in 1935. Zara's maths is always good, I'm sure. She worked out that's 85 years old. This book is 85 years old. Okay, really old. Now, yesterday, at the end of chapter 10, Danny's dad had the idea of that he wants to poach 200 pheasants from Hazel's Wood. But it's going to be a really difficult thing to do. They don't know quite how they're going to do it. And this evening, we find out exactly how they're going to do it. And chapter 11 is called The Sleeping Beauty. 5 minutes later, I was lying on my bunk in my pyjamas. My father came in and lit the oil lamp hanging from the ceiling. It was getting dark earlier now. All right, he said. What sort of story shall we have tonight? Dad, I said. Wait a minute. What is it? Can I ask you something? I've just had a bit of an idea. Go on, he said. You know that bottle of sleeping pills that Doc Spencer gave you when you came back from hospital? Oh, I never used them. I don't like the things. Yes, but is there any reason why those wouldn't work on a pheasant? My father shook his head sadly from side to side. Wait, I said. It's no use, Danny. No pheasant in the world is going to swallow those lousy red capsules. Surely you know that. You're forgetting the raisins, Dad. The raisins? What's that got to do with it? Now listen, I said. Please listen. We take a raisin. We soak it until it swells. Then we make a tiny slit in one side of it with a razor blade. Then we hollow it out a little. Then we open one of your red capsules and pour all the powder into the raisin, and we get a needle and thread, and very carefully we sew up the slit. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my father's mouth slowly beginning to open. Now, I said, we have a nice clean-looking raisin chock full of sleeping pill powder, and that ought to be enough to make any pheasant go to sleep and have a nice big snooze. Don't you think so? My father was staring at me with a look of such wonder in his eyes, he might have been seeing a vision. Oh, my darling boy, he said softly. Oh, my sainted aunt, I do believe you've got it. Yes, I do. I do. I do. He was suddenly so choked up with excitement that for a few seconds he couldn't say any more. He came and sat on the edge of my bunk, and there he stayed, nodding his head very slowly up and down. Danny's dad's obviously thinking about the idea and if it would work or not. You really think it would work? I asked him. Yes, he said quietly. It'll work all right. With this method we could prepare 200 raisins, and all we'd have to do is scatter them round the feeding grounds at sunset, and then walk away. Half an hour later, after it was dark and the keepers had all gone home, we would go back into the wood, and the pheasants would be up in the trees by then, roosting. And the pills would then start to work, and the pheasants would start to feel groggy, they'd start wobbling and trying to keep their balance. And soon every pheasant that had eaten one single raisin would topple over sleepy and fall to the ground fast asleep. Why, Danny, they'll be dropping out of the trees like apples, and all we'd have to do is walk around picking them up. Oh, can I do it with you, Dad? Can I do it with you, Dad? And they'd never catch us either, my father said, not hearing me. We'd simply stroll through the woods, dropping a few raisins here and there as we went, and even if they were watching us, they wouldn't notice anything. Dad, I said, raising my voice, you will let me come with you, won't you? Danny, my love, he said, laying a hand on my knee and gazing at me with eyes large and bright as 2 stars. If this thing works, it will revolutionise poaching. Yes, Dad, but can I come with you? Come with me, he said, floating out of his dream at last. But my dear boy, of course you can come with me. It's your idea. You must be there to see it happening. Now then, we have to prepare, he said. And so now I think they'll go off to prepare the raisins and the sleeping pills. Now, just as a safety note to children, of course, you must never mess about with things like medicines at home, and I think you're all sensible enough to know that. So I'm sure Danny's dad will be doing it all. But however, the question is, they're planning to go to Hazel's Wood, but we still don't know where Pesko is. Now, last time we saw him, he was sitting on that fence. So we'll go and see if he's out there again. Because if you saw in the edge of the fence, there was the keeper. The keeper was hiding in the bushes. So we'll have to go and see. I hope he's out there. He should be. I think it's time to go and have a look. Where could Pesko be? I hope he's all right. Let's have a look. Is Pesko out there? Pesko! Pesko! Is the keeper there? No, the keeper's gone. Let's call. Pesko! Pesko, are you out there? Are you out there? Is he up there in the trees, maybe? No, I can't see. Who's this? It's the keeper. And there's a note. To Danny... Hang on. I can't see it quite. To Danny and his poachy dad. If you ever want to see Pesko again, stay away from Hazel's Wood, or else Pesko gets it. The keeper.